What do you think about growing up the way you did impacts your life today the most?
Well, Hawaii is kind of unique because it's a very small island in the middle of the Pacific.
Which island in Hawaii?
I grew up on the main island, Oahu.
Okay, Oahu.
There's a handful of islands, Oahu's being the main one where Waikiki's at.
Okay.
I grew up in a suburb on the west side.
Okay.
Growing up in Hawaii is unique because, like, if you grow up like in a borough of Brooklyn, you're kind of isolated in other cities, but Hawaii is like really isolated.
Okay.
It's a 6.5 hour flight just to get to the West Coast. So people in Hawaii, we have a little bit of a fishbowl way of thinking because we're out there by ourselves.
Okay.
So I'm sure that had some effect on, me as a child. We had a lot of people coming in, tourists.
That's what
a lot of military. Hawaii's people don't realize how heavily militarized Hawaii is. A lot of military.
I learned that once. There was I dated someone whose family, sister, and they were from Hawaii, and they're a military family. And then I was like, oh, and then that's how I learned that there was a lot of military there. A lot of
military bases.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think that had some effect on my upbringing. But again, I was very fortunate. I grew up a lot of family. Mm-hmm. I come from a big family.
Like how big?
Oh man, a lot.
Share with
us. A lot of aunties, a lot of uncles, a lot of and in Hawaii we have a very we're very family culture oriented. Okay. So everybody is auntie or uncle.
Everybody.
all my training partners is Uncle Charles, Uncle Mike. All my students. We used to come and train on the mats. Uncle Charles, my daughter would refer to my coach as Uncle Jason. It's very, very family oriented.
And are you family? So are you surrounded by family now?
I'm completely isolated by myself out here.
I thought so. I was like, wait a minute. How do you go from total family?
Well, I have my daughters here and my 2 grandkids are here. Okay. And a good portion of my daughter's mom's family is here. So they've kind of adopted me. I've known my daughter's moms. I've known them for a long, long time. Okay. I even met some of her family before I even met the mom. Oh, okay. And then my son-in-law, he has a pretty big family here too. So they kind of treat me like family.
So it keeps you there. Yeah. So I just got to ask, what kind of food? I just want to know, what kind of food is in Hawaii? I don't know anything about Hawaii. So this is a huge lesson.
A lot of Asian food.
Oh, Asian food?
A lot of Japanese, Chinese food. Real good Asian. Mm-hmm. There's Polynesian food. Oh, like poi and kalua pig and stuff like that. Wow. But most of Hawaii, it's a lot of Asian food. Okay. A lot of fresh fish. A lot of
because of the water, huh?
And a lot of fresh produce too, because the weather's perfect year round. So we can grow amazing fruits and vegetables year round. Okay. We don't go into deep freezes in Hawaii.
Oh, I did not know. See? And so you learn something every day. What about church? Is it like a big part of life there, or?
I don't want to talk politics, but unfortunately, Hawaii is a very, very liberal democratic state. There's churches. There's churches. It's not as celebrated as it is here in Texas.
Because it's the Bible Belt.
But even all religions.
Oh, okay.
All religions are, I've seen the Jewish temple, the Islamic temple, and some other Korean church.
I'm talking about in general.
All religions are welcomed and celebrated here. The practice of having a faith is very accepted here. Right. I'm not saying that Hawaii is anti, it's just different.
It's a little bit different. So basically you didn't really grow up in church, but did you come to have a relationship with God at some point?
My mom sent me and my sister to church to do the routine. I was actually, I was a Royal Ranger for years, which is a Christian Boy Scout. Oh. Yeah. That's how I learned how to tie knots and build shelters and stuff like that.
So you said it's a Christian Boy Scout?
I think somebody told me.
I went to Girl Scout camp, so
somebody told me they're still around. Okay, but it's
Royal Ranger.
It's the same as Boy Scouts. Everything's the same, but it's for Christian.
Okay.
Through the churches, uniform badges. They had the whole the whole thing.
Yeah, I had my little stash with all my badges.
But I didn't grow up in religion, though. That is something I found on my own.
Okay.
In my mid-20s when I was trying to find myself.
Yeah. So how did you get to the States? So where was the transition? Did you go to high school?
My daughter's mom settled here in Texas.
Okay.
And she would commute back and forth summer, spring break. The last year or two, she came to live with me. It's very hard to make it in Hawaii. And my daughter wanted to live the American dream, right? Have a nice house in the suburbs, send your kids to nice, clean schools, work one job, and pay all your bills. So at some point, she's having a hard time in Hawaii, and she said, Dad, I want to go back to Texas and, give us. And I said, Kristen, I don't blame you. So I was 100% supportive.
How did you make the trek? I
started to visit her.
Oh.
And when I visit a place, I have a tendency to talk to other business owners. I'll walk into a store. Are you the owner? How's business? You get a feel. And I started to realize right away that Texas is a very business entrepreneur friendly state. And not just for big city, so like places like Hawaii. Again, I don't want to trash Hawaii.
Oh yeah, no.
They're big business friendly.
Big tourist, right? Tourism and
Target, Walmart, Home, all the big companies.
Okay.
I heard states like Jersey are very big business friendly, but Texas is across the board. All including small business, even if it's just one man and a truck.
Right.
The rules and the regulations here in Texas really foster and encourage business and entrepreneurship at all levels. And that appealed to me. Then I started to do the math and I realized that if I moved to Texas, I could retire at 47, which is that's every man's dream, to retire early. Yeah. So I thought about it, did some praying for a year or two, and I pulled the trigger. And I just completely walked away from my old life.
And what was that like? So just before we get to Texas, because I got to I'm trying to get from Hawaii to Texas. What were you doing in Texas at the time? Did you go to college, or where was that? You grew up, you got out the house. Tell me what you were doing.
One of the parts of my story that people really would say I should emphasize is the fact that I didn't graduate from college. Okay.
I had a GED. So you're talking to a girl with a GED,
I was a C average student, barely made it out of high school. Hated math. Academic, real world math, I love.
Because you did the math.
Yeah. But academic math, I can't stand. I just thought.
Me neither.
By Hawaii standards, I had a really good life. My primary residence, I had a beautiful house up in the mountains. I could overlook the ocean. I ran a small termite and pest control company. I did consulting. Then I started to pick up rentals. But I put myself in a position, as you know, money is good for one thing and one thing only. It gives you options. That's it. That's all it's good for.
Options.
That's it. It just gives you options.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to put myself in a position where I could pick an option of walking away from my old life. Another thing too, Alisha, is when you get to your mid-40s, I didn't want to look back on my life book and it'd be all the same chapters. I didn't want to, I could have very easily stayed in Hawaii, rinse, repeat all the way until I retired.
Rinse, repeat.
I wanted the rest of the chapters of my book to have different flavors. And I wanted to continue to see if I could push and expand myself as a business person. And I realized in Hawaii, I was kind of like bumping up against the ceiling. Coming over here, I realized there's so many other options. There's more branches on the tree here